Hey, what's going on, guys? Justin here with my man Darrell,
Hi.
aka Hell22,
Hello.
and he doesn't normally sound like that. He's a little sick today.
Yes.
Chester's not here tonight, unfortunately. But
Fucking Chester, man. You know, Chester told me the other day
What'd
he's
he
been
say?
falling asleep in random places. It's like, I left work the other night and I stopped to get a drink at Stewart's. Fell asleep in the parking lot.
that's not good.
I told him, I'm like, you might have narcolepsy, man. And he's like, that doesn't just like start out of nowhere, right? Like, well, maybe it does. I don't know. We're
It's
concerned
really
about Chester. Not to mention, Chester is having a rap battle Thursday.
Really?
Yeah.
He told you this?
Well, he was challenged by a certain Thai hoodie.
Oh my God.
So look forward to that, folks. If we can get some audio of that, we'll have it up so you can hear Chester in action.
Well, let's see what we got for them tonight, Darrell. We have a couple reviews that we did this past week.
We are a metal review site,
Yeah,
first and foremost.
We do that.
So we do write reviews from time to time.
Well, would you like to talk about your review for the band Drakkar?
I can talk about my review for the band Drakkar if you want.
I actually, at first, when I first read it, I thought you did a review for Drake.
Well, yeah, I can
glanced
do a
at
review
it.
for Drake right now. His
Yeah.
album sucks. Drakkar is an Italian power metal band,
Okay.
and I have some things to say about this album.
I would hope you
Yeah,
do.
I'm not just gonna, sit here silent. I want to say some good things and some interesting things. Nothing bad in particular.
Okay.
I've kind of, peeked around online at some other reviews for the album, and a lot of people complained about the mix, about the production values on there. I didn't have a problem with it. They were saying they thought the keyboards were too high in the mix. I didn't really think that was an issue. Once or twice, I think the keyboards kind of drown out the guitar, but in the power metal style, that kind of happens from time to time, because the keyboard really is a lead instrument.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a problem with that. That said, if I had to compare this to another band, I would say they fall in the realm of Blind Guardian. Not totally because they sound as... Blind Guardian is probably one of the biggest sounding power metal bands, but not that they sound that impressive, but the focus is on storytelling. It's on lyrics. Whereas some of the other power metal bands aren't really so much about that. They're about, fast guitars and high vocals, but there really isn't a whole story behind it.
Right.
So let me give you a quick glimpse into the story, all right?
Okay.
The story follows a jet fighter pilot by the name of Hal Gardner. Now, what happens is, this spaceship comes down to Earth over New York, and the aliens come down, and apparently they're the guardians of the universe, and they're coming down to check on the human race. And of course, the humans, being douchebags, we attack, and it turns into this whole war thing. So a lot of the songs are directly about this. This isn't like, oh yeah, we say it's about it, but it's not really. I suggest you read, it's a little short story. I suggest you read it prior to listening to the album, and maybe it'll help you enjoy the album more, or maybe you'll like it less. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting way to go. I mean, there's some really great tunes on it. The opening track, which is called Hyperspace, The Arrival, is pure symphonic. It's just symphonic keyboards, orchestrated instruments, horns. It sounds like a Blind Guardian opening. Really big sound. After that, there's some really good songs and some really not so good songs. The title track to it, When Lightning Strikes, is a great power metal anthem. It's one of those ones where you got your fist in the air. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I think people forget is why it's called power metal. It's called power metal because it makes you feel powerful. It makes you feel empowered. And that's something that this album does very well. Like all the songs, you just kind of, when it gets done, you just kind of want to, yeah, let's go do some shit. Let's beat up the elderly, So I think there's some interesting songs to be had on here. A lot of interludes, though, partially because they have to tell the story. So there's like 6 interludes that are like 2 minutes or less, with either just acoustic guitars or just symphonics. One is a news report that the fighter pilot, the guy that this follows, Hal Gardner, has been shot down. So I think the interludes almost kill the flow of the music of the album, but they help the story.
Okay.
So the good and the bad. I think it's a good album, but for a band that's been around for 17 years, I think there's a little fine tuning to be done. Now, Justin, that's your name.
See.
You did a review for a band called Your Tomorrow Alone.
Yes, I did. And
would you like to talk about it?
sure.
I'm charging you $21 an hour, just so you know, for me to sit on this couch and you talk about your albums.
All right. Why 21?
Because that's the name of Adele's album.
Okay. Fair enough.
The most metal album of the year.
Yeah. Well, Your Tomorrow Alone is a band from Italy that...
Fuck, man. Fucking Italy again?
Yeah. They describe themselves as like a... kind of a doom gothic band, and I don't really see the doom that much, but I would definitely say they were like more progressive, and gothic is pretty good description. But they just did their new album called Ordinary Lives, and the clean vocals reminded me kind of like the new Stratovarius album.
Okay.
Some of the lighter singing, not more like the operatic vocals. It wasn't, it's not power metal, but I don't know. Just I guess if you go back and listen to some of the vocals from the new Stratovarius album, you'll see what I mean. But then the growling reminded me of...
Wait, I just have to interject for a second. You said the new Stradivarius album? You mean the one that came out like exactly a year ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Newest. Excuse me.
Sorry. Figured maybe you had access to something that I don't have. We're getting big on the site.
And then their growling vocals reminded me kind of like Michael's from Opeth.
Really?
Yeah. Pretty powerful stuff, and it went well hand in hand the way they went back and forth. They have really good guitar work on this song, Praise for Nothing, and another song, Renaissance, was the first song on the album. Very melodic, very heavy at the same time. Really kept me interested the whole time. But I liked it. I would definitely check it out if you have a chance. Now you did another album by another band called Arke, right?
I did. Now this one, I don't even remember how I stumbled on this, but I have some really good things to say about this band too. They're from Manchester in the UK. The name of the EP is Shatner, after, of course, William Shatner. Mm-hmm. And, when I saw the name Shatner, that's what kind of caught my eye, because I think William Shatner is pretty awesome. So, like, oh, what is it? It's got his picture on the front. So I go to check out the band themselves. When you go on their Facebook page, they list some of their influences. Their influences range from Black Sabbath to Dinosaur Jr., the Deftones to Your Dad. So apparently my dad influenced them, but that's awesome. So I figured, let me check out the EP. It's 4 tracks. I hit play, and the opening track, which is the song Shatner, just the kick drum sound was what really got me hooked right away. I love the guitars. I love the drumming. The bass work is great. I just don't have anything bad to say about it. And I think it's, the sense of humor is kind of what makes some of the music that we listen to and talk about is what makes it a lot of fun.
Right.
And again, in describing themselves, frontman Taz Durania plays the Whitley guitars, and the other guitar player, Craig Ross, plays the strummy guitars, which makes sense. I mean, obviously lead and rhythm, but I just think it's kind of refreshing to see guys who don't take themselves all too seriously, but they still make music that you can take seriously.
Yeah.
And, I think that's pretty refreshing. So, I mean, it's only a 4-song EP, but in those 4 songs, it's like 23 minutes. So that's, it's a good amount of time, some heavy stuff in there, I know I played it for you. You weren't crazy about some of the vocals.
Right.
You didn't mind the yelling, but you thought when he tried to sing, it was a little...
Yeah.
I mean, it's on the raspy yelling side as
right.
opposed to, clean vocals. But definitely think it's worth a try. And there's one reason why I can tell you that you should absolutely get this album right away. You know what that is? You know how much it costs?
How much?
Free fitty. Free 99. It's free. You go on their Bandcamp site. It's arkeuk.bandcamp.com. The album is free.
Wow.
So why not grab it and listen to it? I think you guys will enjoy it. It's pretty banging.
Free is always good.
Yeah, free is a great price. Now, Justin, you also did one other review this week for a band called Opera 9.
Yes, 9 is in the Roman numeral 9.
The Roman numeral 9. I should have said Opera Roman numeral 9.
Yeah. You never know how they pronounce it on stage. We are Opera Roman numeral 9.
It could be. You never know. You're right. You never know.
They just came out with a new album this year in January. It's called Styx. it's the band's been around since 1988 was when they were created, which I never.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I never heard of them or really listened to them. But apparently, they've been pretty consistent putting out albums, and so this is their new one. They are a symphonic black metal band from Italy, and I think it's pretty powerful stuff. It reminds me a lot of Dimmu Borgir.
Really?
Yeah, especially like their newer stuff. I guess they were listed originally as like gothic black metal, and now they're more considered symphonic. I don't know what the difference is really. I mean, maybe they use a lot more orchestration now than they did then, or I never listened to their earlier stuff. But I would definitely check out the album. The music on there is ridiculous. It's pretty good. There's a song called "Dead Tree Ballad." It's not really a ballad. I mean, it's pretty aggressive, and I couldn't get over the drumming in it. Especially, it's just constant double bass kicks and constant snare rolls that just attack you every 2 seconds. And meanwhile, you have like these eerie strings in the background, and there's devilish growling and screamings in the background, and it's really good. It seems well written, so I would definitely check it out, especially if you're a fan of music like Dimmu Borgir.
Oh, definitely. Now I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, and speaking of drumming, today's topic is about drummers.
Oh, like Pickles the drummer?
Yeah, drums and drummers.
Well, that's an interesting topic to talk about.
Yeah.
We talk about drumming a lot, in our reviews.
Yeah.
So it seems only fair that we discuss some of our favorite drummers.
Yeah.
And now I'm not saying these are the best drummers out there. I'm not saying that because obviously it's all opinion.
Right.
But I think that it's pretty impressive what some of these guys have done for a career. In particular, one of the people that I had in mind was Gene Hoglan. Gene the Machine.
That dude is huge.
First of all, he's huge. Second of all, watching him play drums, it almost looks too easy. We've seen him live. He's been on a lot
of different bands.
A lot of shit. He played in a band called Dark Angel. He played with Death. He played with Strapping Young Lad, which is with Devin Townsend. He played on Devin Townsend's solo stuff. He played live drums for Death Clock. He just did the Fear Factory album.
Yeah, that's right.
Zimmer's Hole, which is a Strapping Young Lad offshoot. Testament. I mean, this guy is he's one of the most prolific drummers you're ever going to find. And like I said, watching him play drums, it's just too easy. It's just like no effort for him. His arms just kind of move. They're swinging around, hits all the right notes, and it just looks like he didn't even need to try.
Yeah.
And, to boot, one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet.
Oh, yeah. I would say when we met him a couple times when they were on the Death Clock tour.
Yep.
Well, I met him twice.
Yep.
And did you meet him twice?
Yeah.
Oh,
You met him 3 times.
I met him 3 times, okay.
But yeah, nicest guy you'll ever meet. Big sports fan.
Yeah.
And very, very cool guy.
Yeah.